Hi, gorgeous lights. Welcome to a continuation of complex soul agreements as well. Because of my journey over the last 3 to 4 years, I really see the value of actually understanding what your complex soul agreements are with other people, but also beyond that, what your complex soul agreement is with your own self as well. So, the best way to describe it is I'll use some of my own experiences. So, I actually came in as a twin and a twin alignment. In my threads for me to actually deal with in this lifetime are to do with abandonment, rejection, and betrayal. And basically, my twin and I came in very, very awake and very, very aware, and he's still got a massive connection with spirit as well. But he has a huge amount of we have a huge amount of frustration between the soul alignments between the two of us as well. So when you come in a twin alignment, you come in with the same threads to address at exactly the same time. So basically, it's really, really important to understand that in our complex soul agreement, we were actually here to abandon, reject, and betray each other so that we would have a really, really condensed learning and soul level understanding. Now, the cool thing about it, and it's taken me years to get to the point to actually say it is a really, really cool thing, is in these soul agreements as well, nothing changes in the 5D. So whatever we play out or we've agreed to play out in the 3D, everything is divinely orchestrated exactly the way that it's actually supposed to be as well. So in the understanding between the two of us is that we were meant to separate to discover who we actually are in our own selves and actually decide the alignment that would keep us apart. Now that's actually very, very hard for a twin, because when you're born, you're kind of like the womb buddy, and you kind of always know that this person on your birthday, always know that you're connected. We're telepathic, very, very telepathic when we were young, and we still have the ability to know when the other one is upset or whatever. But it's really important also to understand that the value of estrangement when you're actually doing soul level pathway work as well. Now, you're doing soul level pathway work regardless without you realizing it, because most of the agreements that you actually have with your own soul are deeply non-conscious or subconscious level. So we don't come, you can't be fully present in an experience if you know exactly how this experience is actually going to go. And if you know, I know finally underneath it is where I will abandon, reject, and betray my own self until I realize that these are the threads that I actually have to deal with within my own self as well, because everybody else that's just bringing it to you is just the players in your own life. So there can be multiple forms of abandonment, rejection, betrayal. It can be the friendship that just actually, disappears and you just don't really know what happened, or you never get closure around it. It can be somebody dying as well, and leaving you, and you feel very betrayed that you love that person so much and then they weren't here anymore. There's multiple levels to teach you about love and loss, and where you reconcile things within yourself. All of these sorts of things are really, really complex to do with the wounds that we carry and what we're here to actually heal and look at within our own selves as well. So within the complexity of soul agreements, or the soul agreement with yourself, is understanding it's like an onion. Like I've talked about this before, it's seriously like an onion. It could be where you betray yourself, could be where you defer to letting somebody else do something because you think it's easier for the sake of peace. And I've talked about this before. But also underneath that is where you start to actually say, am I doing this at a soul level to keep somebody else happy? Where do I fit in the equation? These are all dark light, what we call dark light of the soul, the shadow aspects of ourselves, what we're actually here to learn. All of these things are just so complex and interwoven that every single moment of every single day is an opportunity for you to investigate how you're tuning up, where you talk to yourself, where your wounds are, And there's so many signals that are actually given off by the universe and your own self about where your wounds are and the opportunities, pardon me, for you to address them and look at what you actually need to heal in yourself as well. Like I meant to say, is it a picnic? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. For the amount of people that I work with, we absolutely love avoiding our own selves, and we want it to be that person triggered us. In reality, no other person but you has control over your emotional states and where you are emotionally at any point in time. So, you can understand that the earth plane, if it is an experiential place that you're coming to learn about you for your soul evolution in conjunction with the other players that you've got around you, then those defining moments where you actually stop and pause and go, where do I fit in this equation, is one of the most cathartic, courageous and scary things that you can possibly do as well. And I've just got the TikTok song, It's Me, I'm the Drama, it's me running through my head. But you're not the drama. You are basically in this amazing experience of growth, of understanding and wisdom, of love, of loss, and it is like this incredible play that's actually playing out as well. Now, one thing that we do is, when we get caught up in blaming ourselves, which is really, really easy to do in complex soul agreements, as well as go, it's me that's causing this. It is me that's causing the universe to respond this way to me. It is not that way. That is a distortion that we quite often do through human understanding that can be to do with a wound or a soul level learning that says, I personally feel betrayed by the universe because the universe never brings me what I actually really want. Well, the universe is bringing you what you really want, which is an investigation into healing aspects that are actually holding you back from having your beautiful life as well. Like, if you think that you're unlovable, and are judging yourself that really, really awfully, then you get sent people that can't love you to the depths that you want to, because you can only ever reach somebody as deeply as what you actually reach yourself. So the soul level complexities come into play massively. If you speak to yourself in a judgmental way in your own head, then you get judgmental, critical people that come into your life to show you how you're teaching yourself. So the energy that we're actually generating within our own selves is the universe in motion, responding outwardly to what you actually do on the inside. So when you have a complex soul agreement with your own self, the universe is going to take that knowledge and take that wisdom that you're actually trying to attain and reflect it in all different quarters towards you. Now, before you do a massive collective eye roll and go, are you sure that I actually signed up for this? You did, because you're here on the earth plane at this period of time. And this is something that I end up reminding my kids, which they probably hate me for, to be perfectly honest, is that they signed up for this. They chose me for their complex parental agreement. They chose their dad for their complex agreement. They chose their grandmothers, their grandfathers. They chose everybody to actually come and to have this experience with as well. And it is the reason why we get the most frustrated with familial ties, and because those soul agreements are even more complex, let alone what we actually come in to learn for ourselves as well. And the key is actually understanding, or bringing understanding in, that actually helps you go, yeah, this is me as the main role in my life, but it's also really, really important that I investigate my own wounds or my own wounding or what I've come to actually learn, because you are seeing the whole of your life through the lens of your wounding. And I've met some incredible, amazing people over the years that really get caught in this, almost like this distortion of wanting to feel, and I did that myself, wanting to actually go, but it's all that person's fault and it's all their fault and I didn't do anything to them, and this is part I don't understand for a very long period of time on what role that they're actually taking. Now, when I jump into the 5D and look at all the souls that I've got around me, regardless of whether I'm estranged from them or not, oh my gosh, they're so beautiful. They're so, so beautiful. And I'm so truly grateful for what they're turning up to teach. And it doesn't necessarily mean I like them in the 3D, but I do understand there's amazing value if you can turn it around into gratitude and see what that person is bringing to you and what you're actually truthfully learning about yourself as well. Now, as human beings, as pack animals, we love to feel like we belong somewhere. We love to be a part of what we think things should be. Now, sometimes we can convince ourselves that the fantasy is the ideal family. We're not going to learn anything there, and you're not going to 100% feel supported, because each of us filter through whatever we're supposed to learn in our complex soul agreement. That's with our own self, and it's with the divine. So you can be put in the best possible family, but still get multi-level learning at multiple levels. And the mistake we sometimes make is we kind of look out through a very, very thin filter and go, well, those people have really good lives, or those people, they will have their own soul agreements, and they'll have their own issues and own things that they're here to actually accomplish. And we can get caught up in cross comparison with what other people are doing when that is their personalized soul journey as well. And we've been talking a lot over the last couple of weeks with a lot of carer souls about the fine line between empowering somebody else's journey by letting them have their journey, or interfering, which actually builds resentment and frustration from both parties usually, because it is their unique life path to have and to have the experience with as well. Now, someone had said to me the other day, does it help to know what you're actually in here to actually experience? Well, there is multiple things that you're here to experience. Does it help to know it? Yes, it does. If you look at it from an empowerment point of view and start to understand how you work with yourself uniquely, actually starts you on the journey of understanding why people are dealing with the way that they deal with them all the way around it. Look, by all means, it doesn't stop you getting triggered until you get into emotional equilibrium, and you're supposed to be triggered. When you're triggered, you are forced to deal with the emotional states that go on around you. Our society does not encourage you to deal with yourself in an emotional way. It's very much about, hide that, contain that, keep that away. I can tell you categorically, having done that for years, contain all my emotions, all it does is put you on hypervigilant mode about other people's emotions. And if you're an empath, then it doubly puts you in a world of trouble, because when on hypervigilant mode, you're doing a traumatic response to how anybody else behaves all the way around you. All you do is end up blaming yourself even more and tying yourself into knots as well. So yes, understanding, someone said to me, how did you find out that you had abandonment, rejection and betrayal threads? Well, I started to investigate the common cycles or the common patterns that were actually happening on my life path as well. And then I started to tie it back and go, well, where do I do that to me? Where do I do that to me all the time, where I might put myself last, or I might do this? It's actually once you start to look at patterns, behaviours and underlying cycles, then you start to understand that the universe is showing you, and you're being shown and directed where there's a commonality of a thread that's actually caused by your own self as well. And then you can start to at least have a starting point of where you can actually start to heal as well. And that is the main goal of the life path that you're actually in, to reach certain thresholds where you actually can say, I love and appreciate myself. Now, a lot of people can say that naturally happens in their 50s. Absolutely not. I don't believe that for a minute. It starts the minute you start to view yourself as amazingly important, incredible, and just incredibly awesome. Soon as you start doing that, you start to realize what insults your soul, or where you're actually putting up with things that you've an allowability, where there is still enabling people to teach you and teach you and teach you. So we do go through this quite restless and ruthless period where we actually start to identify things as well. Now, it's important not to kind of shoot the messenger at this period of time with all these beautiful other players around you, because if you've programmed people for 50 odd years that this is a way that you'll turn up around them, and then suddenly you change it, there's going to be a big culture shock for them and a big culture shock for you. So it is really, really important that we actually remember humility at this period of time for an experience where we're evolving at a personal level, and try not to kind of shoot all the people that actually have signed up to be the players in this environmental stuff as well. Really, really incredibly important for you to actually remember that as well. So I know, look, I love Soul Pathway stuff. I absolutely think it's incredible what people are here to learn, what they're here to do. Sometimes for me, your purpose is so clear what you're here to do, but in the confusion of our own wounding, our own things that we actually learned, we can dismiss and not realise that the investigations into self is one of the most important things that we can be doing. Why? Because you're it in your own life, and it is you responding to you all of the time as well. So it's incredibly important to realise that sometimes in your own life, the biggest thing that's actually in your way is you. When you start to work with that, suddenly it brings in a lot of emotional freedom and emotional understanding as well. It's what we're here to do. So make sure to cut yourself some slack as well, but don't underestimate the power of your complex soul agreement with yourself and discovering where maybe your wounds are first, so that you can actually start to actually set yourself free. Is one of the best and most empowering things to do. Just have a think about it.